just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other. What has been great for me today? Just feel like I've been crushing it with the client calls and had a rare 2-hour gap in the middle that I used to knock out a few things I wanted to do, and even had some like self-reflection time of being still. Sometimes it's good to just be still, Coach. You ever notice that? Is that useful to you? I like being still sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You don't come across as somebody who values being still. I don't know why.
Well, that's probably why I value it, because I don't do it very much. Yeah, it was interesting. Like, I used to have that time. Work has always been an intense thing for me. Like, or back in the day, and then coming home from work would have like typically go straight to a gym, and then just have the time after that where like I could take things slower. But with the way things are now, like life wise, family wise, it could easily be like the whole day is just like non-stop.
Yeah.
Until you, it's kind of like kids are, like they're just non-stop until they pass out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how they go. They can't regulate through. It's not a given that they can regulate through. Okay, I need to take a rest. It's just like go, thump, like out. So tired, I got to pass out. Right, it's just you're on that journey a lot of time as well. But my morning time is at 20 or 30 minutes. I get to do some journaling in the morning. Just sit there. That's my bit of quiet time, and I find that's enough. That works. Like, doesn't have to be hours a day. Just 20 minutes, 30 minutes is when you're doing no more than one thing at a time.
Interesting that it's in the front part of your day. It's not like you need a recharge or to like. Do you find that I'm getting a picture of the Energizer Bunny. Does it wind you up in the morning and like you're able to go all day then? Is that a good way to think about it?
Well, it's like, well, maybe it just empties you out, so you fill back up again. It's like it's like it's unwinds the mind. Maybe, yeah, I guess the other way around. Maybe it is winds you up. Like, it's more like maybe it does both at the same time. Unwind you, then wind you back up again, so you can go out there. And I think it's easy to. Well, I tell you what, I felt like a lot in the, not so much recently, but maybe like across the last like 7 or 8 years, where it's just at the end of the day, like, oh wow, it's the end of the day again. Like, the last thing I remember was being here yesterday, and where this day just goes like that, because there's no moment to just stop. As you've said, Coach, before, can't stop and smell the roses at a sprint.
One of my favorites. I think that's why I maybe have those pockets of time scheduled in now. What keeps coming up for me as we speak about this is like my nervous system. So maybe that's the, I even coach clients here who have had health scares in the past from not paying attention to their nervous system. And I think that's the indicator of red flag, like something's going on, slow down. You're pressing too hard. And I've learned that there's another side to that. There's another opposite side of the pendulum where the nervous system is like, we're bored, or like we need more stimulation here. So it's always a balance, right? I think we always seek that perfect midpoint, but it's more like a pendulum going back and forth. And just interesting that we have maybe different structure to different days that might encompass one side of that pendulum over the other. What I've learned is to just be more intentional heading into a given week. Or even, we talked about our value add campaigns. I have a week coming up later in May where I have the whole week off. So like getting out ahead of that and just thinking about how I might spend my time there. But Yeah, I'm just fascinated by the. I wrote down one word that you said, regulate. I thought that was a really accurate, astute word for our ability to tune into ourselves and give ourselves what we need. I think part of that is just having the flexibility in the calendar sometimes to be able to do that. If I'm stacked up all the time, I lose the option. And so space gives me the option to go one way or the other, depending on what is needed in the moment.
Yeah, and also, well, back to like the levels of reflection. So yes, the space regulate, but also over what scale? Uh, Scale, contrast, and content. Yeah, what scale? Like time zone. So timeline. So does it have to be across the day, or can it be across the week? Can it be across the month or the quarter? It's like you might be like, this day's crazy, this day's crazy, this day's crazy. But if you zoom out, like we had 10 crazy days, but in the totality of the year, that was 10%.
Mm.
And you could split them across 10 weeks and not feel them at all. You could have them all together and really notice it. But you might say it's more valuable to have them all at once, or not. But it depends on what you're trying to achieve. But either way, like everything's a season. So I definitely do think if you stack things together, there's more there's more value you can get oftentimes
Hmm.
with an intensive immersive approach, like a coiling of a spring. If you like, you push it down a little bit, it's going to jump out a bit. It's not going to take so long to push it down, but you're not going to get near enough power or as much power as you might than if you squashed it all the way down and then just let it rip, let it go crazy.
Yeah.
Feel that?
Yeah. So does that include time off too? Is that what you're saying? Like the more immersive or like the stacking it. So like a full day off, for example, that versus like 2 hours has more of an impact.
Yes, I.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm suggesting. Yep. So both
Mm.
ways around, which
Yeah.
is a big reason why I'm doing sabbatical this year.
Yeah. It's been a couple episodes since we talked about that. How is that? I'd like to know how that's coming along.
This morning, I just recorded the first couple of intro videos as to what it actually is. What am I doing here? So it's in development in progress.
Interesting. So videos that you plan on sharing it with your clients ahead of time or during the weeks of your sabbatical that
Oh, these are just videos right now for like awareness. What am I
oh,
doing? What's it going to be? So definitely going to have a plan across. I have a plan across from now. We're 1st of May here up until when the sabbatical starts on the 1st of August. So we'll be sharing things across that time and just what the journey's been like as I develop it and fill it out, and then through it as well.
well, I think last we talked you were still playing with what that cadence looked like. So am I understanding that right? So you'll be sharing videos and during the time off, or what did you say that this is just for you to reflect on right now?
I'm going to be sharing with my clients and whoever else wants to follow along what I'm doing and the lead up to it, documenting what's happening as I'm planning through it. Uh, and then as I get up to it, I'm going to be sharing more and more stuff as my experience through that goes. So there's some finalization around, will I share day on day actually through the experience? Will I capture to share after the experience? But yes, there's going to be a bunch of stuff where you can choose to. The whole point here, to quickly recap, Coach, is that the principle of if we take time away, we can add more to ourselves. And when we come back, there's more of us to give. That's the that's the generalized version of this. Meaning, like specifically, it's you make if you take more time off your business, your business can make more money, it can grow. But it also applies to everything. And so the resistance to this is always, well, if I take time away from something I want to do, then I'm taking time away from it. You can't not be here. So that's the resistance, and that's the fear. I'm leaning into that to say, specifically for my clients, hey, I'm not going to be there. You know what? When I'm not there, it's going to be valuable for you, not me, not being there. Like, well, hang on, because I'm not going to be there, which means I have space to work on other things that are business related, may not be business related, but are definitely depth providing to me, and therefore I'm grown. My capacity is bigger. My viewpoint is different, such that you're supported through that period. But when I come back, there's more of me. So the total output is going to be more, even if I wasn't around for a month. And in that month, guess what? You get to go on a journey yourself if you want to, and choose your own adventure. Go all in. Do something. Pick one thing. Either way, a different experience or experiences through that time as well.
Mm. Have we talked yet about? So what's interesting how I started. I didn't mean to pin you, Coach, as identity, as not coming across as somebody who values space, but like that's the ultimate version of space. Like a full month, will you be tempted? Like how do you think you'll feel about not having commitments like you do every day? Right, this has been your lifestyle for years and years now to be a coach, and this is the longest time that I'm aware of, at least, that you've taken off away from it. So what else is going through your mind? I wonder.
What I'm gonna do. It's not. I'm creating a vacuum. I'm creating space to do something else. Like I'm moving
Okay.
towards something as well.
Yeah.
So I want to give ample like flexibility in that time, but also want to be using it to do something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like now what.
Yeah.
So there is going to be some vacation time in there as well, and that's part of the reason why I picked that timeline. Um, but it's so much about the concept and the just leaning into the fear of doing it and proving that point out and living that standard.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Do you? I don't know how much you want to share. Do you know what you'll be doing, or what is it intended for? Is that something that you're prepared to share?
Yeah. So the definition around it from a business perspective is no delivery work, right? So it doesn't mean I won't be thinking around like strategy and structure for my business,
Yeah.
planning, but there's no delivery work. So that space is what I'm claiming back for that amount of time. My goal is to, because part of that, I'm going to be on vacation a few days in Barcelona. I'm going to learn some Spanish. I'm going to learn Spanish. I spend a month learning Spanish.
Oh wow.
I'm going to have some sort of physical pursuit happening. Like I might get back to martial arts, do jiu-jitsu every morning or something like that if I can find out a schedule that works. But some sort of physical pursuit. I haven't finalised it yet, as you can hear. And then some things around like how can I like thinking about the diamond of success, right? So working on my business, the 4 points of diamond: business, relationships, health, and contribution. Business is working on top of my business by thinking about the strategy of it, and but it will be less overall time, like by 80%, 90%, and then working doing something like physical around the house, building something out, doing a bunch of jobs at home, which is then things that my wife wants as well. So it's like working on a relationship, doing things with her in that sense, working on my physical body with a specific pursuit for the time, learning a language, which is going to be helpful overall for my cognitive ability. And then by sharing it all, I'm giving back. I'm contributing that back as well.
Hmm. And so how many weeks out of the month are you in Barcelona?
We're only in Barcelona for a couple of days, and
Oh,
then going to be
okay.
in London for a week or so. Yeah,
Got it. And then the rest of the time home.
that's right.
Interesting. So you mentioned like fears. Where are you in that process of facing them, understanding them, working through them? They're all taken care of. Are you good to go? Or is there more?
Well, I mean, it's not fully baked yet, right? It's just like it's on the way, and so each conversation I have about it, I'm telling you, and I'm figuring out things as I'm telling you. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how that will work, right? and then that's exactly the point where I'm building it in public. I'm each conversation just gives me a bit more clarity because
Mm.
someone will ask a question like you just did, or as I say it, I'll realize something, and it's the appropriate amount of scary and exciting.
Just the right amount of the ingredients of both.
Yeah, right. Like, what's the worst case? What's the best case? And knowing that ultimately, if I don't lean into do something like here's the always the catch is for me is like ultimately if I don't lean into something like this, what's the point? Because the worst case scenario could be that everyone in my sphere responds in a way which like they don't understand it, they don't agree with it, they feel like it's a negative thing for them, and it makes things worse for me in all parts of my life.
Mm.
I don't enjoy the time. Like I don't get anything. Like it's not good. I don't get anything out
Yeah.
of it. I come
Yeah.
back. I'm like, that's terrible. Like, and so that could be the worst case scenario. But if I don't do it, that's actually the worst case scenario
Mm.
because I'll always be going. What I thought about doing it. Oh, yeah, it's cool. I've seen people do it before. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. I don't know. It's lowering the standard. It's it's settling for something else, and that's not how I work. That's not how I want to live. And this is an it's an external expression of an internal thing, which is I think a big part of what we do overall is take the internal and link it with something external,
Yeah.
so we can continue to be able to see it.
More context and scale. Is this something that could be recurring for you each year, multiple times a year? So once every 5 year type of thing?
It's absolutely every year, like I'm just validating it this year, but the absolutely intent is to do that again, and with the premise that the more of it you do, the more impact you have, then it's only
Yeah.
going to extend.
Mm. Not to mention people around you will just get used to, oh, it's Nick's sabbatical month. Like this is what he does. Had you been thinking about this before this year, or what made you take the leap to implement this finally?
It's part of the bigger conversation around like how do you want to live your life,
Mm.
freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationships, freedom of purpose, being able to set up the game such that it's a game you continuously want to play because it's sustainable in nature. Coming back extra hungry, rejuvenated, more of you, more valuable, all of those things. I don't know where the catalyst was necessarily, but I mean, if you look around, like the further you go, I mean, you can look around people that you respect or people that you're in the public eye, like people that are high level people. They're not sitting at their computer 60 hours a week. They're out there sharing their impact with other people, and they're not rushing around.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, Dave Ramsey popped up on one of my favorite podcasts recently. Does that name ring a bell? You know who he is?
Yeah, that guy drives me crazy.
Does he?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's not something I say lightly.
all right, I won't stick on the
Right.
topic too much, but he just made a good point at one point that the grind is useful for people in the beginning, but like when you look at the truly wealthy in the world,
Yeah.
they're not working for the weekend. I'm not saying that we are either, because I think coaching is a lifestyle choice as well. But to your point, like what is the lifestyle that you want to live? How great is it that you can take a month off? It's really just your choice, right? The only thing preventing me from doing something like that is myself and any fears that I might have of how it might be perceived. But there's nothing else stopping us. So um, I don't think we're here to work. We're not here. We're here to add value to other people, and sometimes we get in a rut with what we think it should look like with our schedules, etc. But to your point, like coming back more of you, I'm super excited to see what that looks like and what it feels like. Both from you sharing your perspective, but me noticing how you're showing up differently just because you've had that time to yourself or with yourself.
Yeah, man, and that's a great point. Yeah, I think that's it. It's like there's utility in the grind, but that's not where we should be. But it's easy to get stuck in that place, and it's a great point, great observation. I know that lots of people like Dave Ramsey, and he adds a lot of value. But uh, yeah, but it's one of the
I
things,
want to
right?
know
Like,
why you don't like them.
but I just I don't know. It's one of those things. There's something about it. I just don't doesn't feel good. Um, Last time I had any length of time away was when I left banking, and I probably had 6-8 weeks where I was in between things, right? And I didn't use that time as wisely as I could. I think I used it pretty well, relatively speaking, but I think it's important to be able to take. You can't. If I think about all of my career, there have been times where you have to like leave or move or do something because it's just I can't. This it's too much. Like I need space. I need something. I need a more than just a like weekend. You can't have a. You go for a year like weekends away are great. Oh, let's have like a little. I have loads of little weekends away because I've got X amount of vacation days. I have weekends away. That's great. Like I have a Friday and a Monday, and maybe it's a long weekend. Let's have like extra Friday. But every now and again, like you need that 2 weeks off because you can't get the same impact. Like you said, a day is better than 2 hours, but 2 hours also is valuable. But it depends what you need with different frequency, where you are, and what's going on. But and it also obviously depends what you're doing with that time, right? We're not saying if you take more vacations, your business is going to grow. We're saying if you take more time away from being in your business is going to grow. It's a subtlety, but obviously it's very stark to say the more free time you have, the more money you have. But there's a nuance within that as well. But that works everywhere. It's kind of like the saying, right? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I believe that is just that space allows you to reflect about why that person, that relationship is so valuable to you, rather than being stuck in just like the minutiae and the daily grind to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
then,
therefore, just let me add to that exactly. Therefore, it's like, oh, when things are bad, then leave because that absence makes the heart grow stronger. Well, no, leave when it's really great. So then you can grow. You can add to what you've got that's really great. And if you're only adding to the stuff that's already really great, then it's only ever going to continue to be really great, and then more of really great. Rather than when it goes bad, you can get back to it's okay again.
yeah, that's such a good point. You're not leaving or doing this because your business is in need of a makeover or like there's some sort of crisis or emergency. On the contrary, it's going great. You've built a lot. You have great clients that you love working with, and you're growing the heart is growing fonder in the
Right.
absence of that. Yeah, I love that analogy.
You got it, coach.
Super
Great wrap
cool.
up.
Yeah, this is something we'll keep an eye on, and I have so many. I'll have so many more questions leading up to it and upon your return. So onwards and upwards. Thanks for this.
Take care.
Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction, so please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.